Thanks, Christine. And unlike the cricketer, my neck's a little bit longer than Paul's. I'll keep you guessing on that one. Thanks very much for being able to present the Kalamazoo story today. I think this is the first time we've presented Kalamazoo to such a wide audience in Perth, so it's great to be here. Which is the way forward here? Oh, got it. Okay. So just draw your attention to our forward-looking statements and the various ASX announcements that we're going to be referencing, and of course the JORC table, which we can also talk about. Okay. Kalamazoo story. Basically, Kalamazoo started as a private company about 10 years ago. Actually in the Pilbara, and I want to sort of echo Tony's comments that he made about the Pilbara being a great place to be, and we certainly think so. The company listed about 3 years ago on the ASX, finally sort of taking that sort of private company forward into the public realm. But we're a gold-focused company. If you're looking at gold as being probably a pretty hot commodity at the moment, I think Kalamazoo is in a fantastic position, given we've got major projects in arguably two of the best goldfields in the world at the moment, and that is the Victorian Goldfields, that itself has had such a huge resurgence in interest over the last couple of years, and also in the Pilbara. And our latest acquisition from Northern Star, being the Ashburton Gold Project, I think has put us on the map in the Pilbara. We've been in the Pilbara a very long time, but the Ashburton Gold Project has certainly given us a massive step up into that region. The Victorian Goldfields, there's 20-odd companies now actively exploring in Victoria, and we've managed to pick up 2 goldfields in Victoria, the Castlemaine Goldfield and the South Muckleford Goldfield. Okay. So just looking at our corporate snapshot, just briefly. We have a pretty tight register. As I mentioned, we only listed about 3 years ago. The top 5 shareholders own about 50% of our stock, so we're pretty tightly held. And in fact, we had some very good results from our first drilling program in Victoria back at the beginning of the year. And as a result of that, it piqued the interest of Eric Sprott and Quentin Henai from Novo. And we got a call from those guys, and after some of the results of our drilling program, they took an interest in this, obviously, given their experience at Fosterville. And they came in for about 7% of the company each. They did that at a 25% premium to our share price at the time, and Quentin's come on board as a technical advisor to the company, which is extremely welcome. We've got a pretty strong board and management team, and we've also, over the last few weeks, formed the nucleus of our exploration team in WA, with some high-profile hires have just joined the company. We've got not very many shares on issue. The unlisted options we've got there are mostly in the money. We've got circa $12 million in cash and receivables coming in, and as those options get exercised, we're seeing a fairly constant influx of investment funds into the company from options exercise. And like many other gold companies, our share price has done reasonably well over the last 12 months. So if we turn our attention to the Bendigo zone, Bendigo zone in Victoria was one of the world's richest goldfields, and it's produced more than 60,000 ounces since the 1850s, most of that in the 40 years between the 1850s and 1890s. And as a result of of the grade, it's always been seen as a great investment destination. But as we all know, the Goldfields have been largely unloved for many decades, and it wasn't really until Fosterville's success, or Kirkland Lake's success at Fosterville, that the Victorian Goldfield got another lease of life, a resurgence, if you like. And as you know, as some of you will probably know, the Victorian government have released a land tender around Fosterville, and that has also garnered a lot of interest, not only from local companies here in Australia, but also from companies overseas. But if you look at the map of the Bendigo zone here, it's only about an hour and a half north of Melbourne, so very, very easy to get to, that is, if you didn't have COVID. The mineralisation there is centred along these north-south faults. So it's a very sort of well-known, established structural control to the mineralisation in Victoria. And you'll also notice that this brown squiggly line here is the area where the Murray Basin sediments to the north overlap the bedrock, the basement. And of course, you know, you've got some companies doing excellent work there and finding good gold mineralisation north of that line. But as early movers into the Victorian Goldfields, Kalamazoo, having recognised the early success that Fosterville were having, they managed to peg up two goldfields, the Castlemaine Goldfield and the South Muckleford Goldfield, that we own 100%, and we actually pegged those about 2.5 years ago. The ground holding that we have are these two projects here. So we've got about 480 square kilometres of ground, and you'll notice that the Fosterville mine is not far away. It's about 50 kilometres away. But you can also see some of the more recent Canadian companies that have come into Victoria. You've got Fosterville South that have picked up this tenement immediately to the east of our Castlemaine tenement there. You've got Mandalay at Costerfield. Mawson have also picked up ground, and you'll see that that Newmont has also picked up some ground there to the east. So if we have a look at a little schematic, you'll notice, I suppose, the north-south structures. Now we've got about 30 kilometres of strike of those important structures through our tenements, and you'll also notice the onlapping Murray Basin sediments in here, as well as some of the granitoids that are thought to concentrate the gold grade within the various goldfields. We have a high-grade strategy at Victoria. So we're really looking for large resources, say in the region of 1 million ounces at more than 10 grams. And fortunately for us, our projects are roughly the same age and geology of those in Bendigo and at Fosterville. So the Castlemaine Goldfield itself was arguably one of the richest alluvial gold mines in the world, and still remains so today. So 5.6 million ounces were produced from the Castlemaine Goldfield, largely in the 1850s. And we've actually probably mapped now 2,000 small pits and shallow shafts in our ground holdings. So you see the level of activity from the 1800s that existed in this goldfield. But interestingly, only a small proportion of that has ever been won from hard rock sources. So there's about 400,000 ounces at 11 grams that was mined at Wattle Gully, which lies within our tenements. And the hard rock source of much of that alluvial gold has yet to be found. And if you go 10 kilometres to the west, here at Muckleford, by contrast, that was an underground operation. There was 2.1 million ounces at 28 grams from that operation. And again, we've mapped thousands of pits and shafts, but they've hardly had a drill hole drilled underneath them. So we think the projects that we have been sleeping giants. There hasn't really been an awful lot of work done on these for a very, very long time, and we're trying to take an innovative approach to our exploration over these project areas. We've been working with the CSIRO now for a couple of years already, and in fact it was on the Castlemaine Goldfield that we first tried our ultrafine soil sampling technique sometime before. But we've seen some excellent results from that work, and in fact we have a drill program ready to go. I think second week in October we'll be drilling one of the targets as a result of that work. When we picked up, when we did our first drill program, it was 4,500 metres of diamond drilling, 14 holes, and we did pick up anomalous gold or high-grade gold in every single drill hole. The best achieved intersection was that 1.42 metres there at 261 grams, and that's what garnered the interest from Quentin Hernay and Eric Sprott, and that's as a result of that intersection they came on board. But we'll be drilling the Mustang project, which is just south of where we had that intersection in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Going forward, we've got quite a lot of activity happening on our Victorian tenements, so that Lightning prospect's going to be drilled very shortly. We'll then move to South Muckleford and then to the Wattle Gully South projects for a total of a further 12,000 metres of diamond drilling. And we've got multiple target areas. We just need to get the POWs and work through the approvals process in Victoria, which, as you know, can be quite arduous. And just finally on Victoria, about 70% of the points allocated to the Victorian land release comes from the proposed minerals exploration program and also our ESG. You know, we think we're particularly strong in there because we're already operating in the district. And just to take a look at our Pilbara gold assets, we've just acquired the Ashburton Gold Project from Northern Star, 1.65 million ounces. It's going to be our focus going forward here in Western Australia. And that sort of really puts us on the map of the players in the Pilbara. It's an important jurisdiction for us. We've got a major drilling program started. We've already done we've already done the heritage survey. POWs go in by the end of the week, and we've got the nucleus of a new team that are going to lead the exploration project here at Ashburton. And you can see from here, it's composed of 5 projects, but there are numerous undeveloped, sometimes undrilled gold occurrences at surface that we aim to tackle over the next 12 to 24 months. We aim to increase the ounces from 1.6 million to between 2 and 3 million ounces over that time period. And I'll just run through quickly. This is a long section of our Mount Olympus deposit. It goes down to 600 metres. It's open in most directions, and the same at Peake, although at a bit of higher grade. And I'll just touch on our Sisters project. We will be drilling Sisters probably in October or early November. And again, as Tony said, it's located on the structural extensions of those structures that hosted the Hemi deposit. So we're very, very excited about that, and that project has not had a drill hole into it. I think I'll leave it there. Thanks.
All right, that's exciting. They can come out, they can chat to you now, Paul. That's the main thing. So